Step into the mind of the unknown, where we dive deep into the unique human experience, where we blend the dark and the light. I'm your host Fabian, this is my co-host Sam, and welcome to Anything Evil.
Yo!
What's good, y'all?
Happy Friday, y'all. Welcome back. You know what that means? Brand new episode of Anything Evil.
Yes, sir.
Did y'all fall in love with our last guest?
Bro,
She.
homie got mad views, low key. I told these fools they weren't ready for AG.
Yeah, they were like, everyone was asking me, like, hey, who's that soft spoken, like, velvety tone guy that you guys had on? He sounded pretty cute. That's all I heard.
He sounds like a studious ass fool.
He sounds like he has his life together.
He sounds buff.
He sounds like he's got cool tattoos all over his arms.
Oh, is he a rapper too? And he writes poetry? Oh, fuck.
Yeah, that's the homie, AG. Yeah, man. So that was a fun little episode. You know, we tried to get that fool on like in the very beginning, but I'm glad he came on now. You know, yeah, good stuff. Hopefully, you guys got some insight on that. Maybe you got some like some little notes on what to do. You know what I mean? We talked about how AG he wasn't necessarily afraid of failure, but we talked about that's something that looms on in his brain. Because he's got a lot of shit going on. He's got school, he's got work, a bunch of shit. So, hopefully, like I said, you guys got something worth from that podcast from him. And I'm sure he'll be back too,
Yeah, just to let you guys know, checks and balances is a good thing to have in your life, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Make sure you're not overdoing yourself. Take time for breaks and for fun things that you want to do and stuff.
Exactly. Real quick, follow us on our socials. Anything_evil_podcast. That is the best way to get in contact with us. We're actively on IG, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff. And I know I promised that I'm going to post more. It's just been a busy ass fucking month, bro. It's already May, bro.
I know, man.
5 months into
this
the
year's
new year.
already going by fast. We're already, 6 months in? Doing this podcast?
Oh, 6 months, yeah.
Since October.
No. October, that's...
November, December, 6 months away.
Yeah.
It's going to be 6 months on the 30th. Oh, wait. How many days is fucking...
November, December. Yeah, you're right. It's like about 6 months.
Yeah?
Yeah. Give or
Damn,
take.
bro. We stuck to it. Shit.
Yeah, half a year doing this shit. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for the kind words. We can't do it without you. So it's just me and the homie just talking randomly. as we do.
Lollygagging, you know how it is out here.
Off the dome, as people say. But sometimes they're pretty good conversations,
Yeah, I think so, bro. I think for the most part, we've actually put out pretty good episodes. I think obviously people just get intimidated by the hour mark.
Yeah.
They don't want to sit through it, which is fine. If you guys at least tune in for like 15, 30 minutes,
Yeah.
we appreciate any time you guys put into our podcast, So, again, thank you guys.
Yeah, copy that. So today's subject on Anything Evil is something similar to like the past, solo subjects that we've had. It's about cults now.
Yes, sir.
You kind of like itch my brain when we were talking about it, like on our first religion episode. So I'm pretty excited, pretty happy that we're finally gonna, talk about this, and like how cults are and what they do and how they become to power and like the control that they have. So I'm pretty pumped. Obviously, and just a hot take, bro. I think now in this world, just because like the state of the world or state of the union, I guess if I could say that, I think we're due for like another cult, like these popular cults that are, we're going to talk about.
I wouldn't doubt it. I know there was one trying to form during COVID. I forgot what it was called, but it was pretty much like another like savior type of cult, or like, hey, come with us, we'll rescue you from this, but you got to devote yourself to me. And I forgot. I need to look into that. I completely forgot. Like that one completely skipped my mind, but I see it, bro.
Yeah, because I mean, bro, like I'm just talking about the United States here. Like all the shit that's happening, whether you agree with it or not, like it's happening, right? And a lot of people, hopefully you guys see that it's wrong. The stuff that we're doing, right? We're helping out countries that we don't even like have no business with. You know what I mean? We're bombing kids' schools and stuff.
Take it easy, bro. Take it easy.
Gas
bro.
prices are high. You know what I mean? It's a really bad. I've never seen it this bad.
You know what my favorite thing is?
Low key.
Touching on politics just a tad bit, is people, the Trumpies that are like, oh, I voted for him, but I didn't think he was gonna be this crazy. That's my favorite right now, bro. Yeah. It's just hilarious.
Insane.
If you voted for Trump, get off our podcast. Can we go back down to 2 listeners?
Oh shit. Well, I mean, I'd love to have a conversation with one.
No, I'm down. We can definitely. If you guys are Trump supporters and you guys would like to come on the podcast and have like a casual conversation about certain politics, we'd be down. Just obviously can't get hostile.
Right.
Got to be open minded. Yeah. So
we're not.
Y'all down for the challenge?
We're not like too into politics. We're a little bit on the ignorant side, but we do
ignorant.
We do see what's going on. We know history. We know our history and all that. So, a lot of stuff I don't really agree with, and this is the kind of shit that a lot of cults start off from. They start off from politics, from just, hey man, like, let's all gather up, let's sign some petitions, let's change the world, let's change the State of the Union because we don't like this. And then all of a sudden,
fuck the man.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you get 50 people, then you get 100 people, then you get you get a little bit more, and then you're storming fucking
the Capitol and shit,
the Capitol or civic centers and shit. And so just from studying the studying that we did with cults, that's the reason why I say I think we're in the near future. I'm sure there's gonna be some sort of cult, and I'm sure there's a cult now. It's just they're not out in the open. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's this shit's like literally what I'm saying is happening. Because the world isn't cool right now. It sucks. It kind of
it's very divided right now, bro. And it sucks to see because it's like at the end of the day, and I feel like some people that double down on the whole opposite end of shit. It's not even about politics. I think it's just racist motherfuckers finally being able to be racist.
Yeah. Because
they know they're gonna be backed up by other motherfuckers, But
yeah, they all came out like as people say roaches, and it's whatever.
But I'm hoping at the end of the day, bro, somehow things get better and obviously, we can start living as one. And again, I don't want to sound all fucking
3 more years, bro.
Yeah, I don't want to sound all whack and shit, but obviously it is tough, bro, especially with all the raids going on and all that crazy shit. It's tough, bro. It is a tough time right now, but I'm hoping everybody's being cautious and just, making sure we're taking care of each other and there's no reason to fucking live off hate, Yeah. As much as people say hate is the reason why the world keeps turning, we got to clear it from that shit because fuck all that, bro.
Yeah, like the big dog said, just, take care of yourselves no matter what side you're on, you know what I mean? Just treat others like you want to be treated, you know what I mean? That's the golden rule. And, and if something bothers you, half the time it's none of your business, so, just keep on walking, man. Nothing hurts you, But anyway, that's a hot take. Like I said, I think we're due for another deadly cult like the ones we're going to talk about. And obviously, we kind of narrowed it down to a couple, handful of cults. Obviously, we all know about the Manson family. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into the People's Temple, one of the deadliest cults. You know what I mean? Heaven's Gate, another popular one, that has a lot of weird shit that happened. And the one that's not so known, because it didn't happen here in the United States, but it happened, on the other side of the world in Tokyo, Japan. Aum Shinrikyo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aum Shinrikyo. That's another deadly cult that, ended with a very nasty and inhumane, attack on a subway in the 90s while we were alive. You know what I mean? We were 1 year old, but, we lived through that. And so those are, and then we're gonna also talk about one of the most, now it's, thank God it's being, it's being brought out into the world, and we're finally seeing what the fuck is happening down in Texas. And I'm not gonna point out that Texas is wrong, but there's another cult that people don't say it's a cult. People still are members of it, but obviously, like me and the big dog, we have like our, no bullshit, glasses on, and we know a cult when we see one. You know what I mean? And we're gonna be talking about FLDS as well with what was his name? Warren Hayes.
Warren Hayes, yeah. Or
Yeah.
Jim. Was it James Warren?
Warren for sure. Let me make sure I get that correct here. But yeah, those are the handful of little cults that we're gonna talk about.
I think it was
Warren Jeffs.
Warren Jeffs. I always
Yeah.
get his name backwards.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Warren Jeffs.
Yeah.
And so those are the ones we're gonna talk about. Obviously, what is a cult? So a cult is a group, that, intensely worship a single person, sometimes two, intense devotion to a leader, and usually the leader is like a very charismatic, soft spoken, right, and you think he's fair. Sometimes he's like a preacher, right? He's in religion, right? So he speaks God's words, and those words he's actually, trying to throw you off and say something else. But, since you speak so well, you confuse people and you make them follow you. Some people are part of these cults that we're going to talk about are hippies, right? Just living off the land, man, like peace and love. You know what I mean? This is like back in the 60s, obviously. Another leader of these cults, it was very interested in like astrology, right? UFOs, extraterrestrials. And that shit's like popping off right now too. Like all the UFO stuff.
Yeah, the whole UFO shit coming out.
I can't imagine if, this particular Heaven's Gate cult was alive now.
Well, their website's still active.
Yeah, the website is still active.
You can still join, but
No,
I heard that's like if you reach out to them, they'll decline your kind of like they'll reject it.
Maybe it's just for research or something.
Yeah, but they like if you go to the Heaven Gates website, you can still apply to it.
That's
but I think
crazy.
within like 24 or 48 hours, they'll reject your letter of trying to get in.
Yeah,
which is crazy, bro. Like I would have thought by now, like at least they would have gotten rid of the fucking website, but
yeah, like
it's still there if you guys want to check it out.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. And then another leader, has aspirations to be a politician, so stuff like that. Those are like the, but obviously it's, I see a very similar, characteristic in all of these leaders, and it's all like narcissism, bro.
It's that, and it's always people that are very well spoken and high IQ'd, bro. A lot of the times, if you guys ever get the chance to watch the show, what's that show on Netflix called? It's why can't I think about it? It's like one of my favorite shows too. I'll think of the name right now, but it's a show based on like going into the minds of serial killers.
Oh, Mindhunters,
yeah. And I love that show, bro, because it like legit goes into the idea of like
how many motherfuckers were smart though?
But that's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like that's when they
Crazy.
started realizing. That's how they came up with the term serial killer.
Right.
Because every time they would go in and they would talk to a murderer, they would be like, "Oh, this fool likes this specific type of stuff." So if you go into the records, if you start looking at the dates and the specific types of murders that are going on, you're gonna see when he's gonna do the next one. And that's how they started catching fools, because they started throwing the psychology into it. They started talking to them. Yeah, just in the patterns. They started talking to them individually.
Oh.
And that's how they started catching on to a lot of these fools. So when they started talking to Manson was always the guy who was like, well, I never killed anybody.
Smart mofo.
Right?
Yeah, that was the trial.
The thing was like, yeah, but you had your people do it for you.
Yeah.
But then his defense was like, yeah, but I'm just crazy. Right?
Yeah.
So you can't prove that I did anything.
Yeah, let's talk about the Manson family. So Manson family, obviously in the 60s, right? Uh, the leader of this cult was Charlie Manson, other people call him. Dude, yeah, like the big dog said, smart motherfucker, you know what I mean? He grew up bullied all the time from what I've been seeing, right? So that kind of shit, like, it burns like a hole in your heart, you know what I mean? Until you have no heart, right? Because you get bullied all the time, and it sucks that happened to him, but it is what it is. I think I read an article when he was in school. He got bullied a lot by like the bigger people, right? And then somehow he was able to speak to two other like classmates that were equally the same size as these bullies, and somehow convinced those classmates to fuck up the other bullies. And then the classmates got in trouble, and they brought in Charles Manson, and Charles Manson convinced the principal that it wasn't him, that he didn't make the classmates beat up the bullies. And that just goes to show, like the big dog said, it's like, bro, smart motherfucker, bro. Like, how's a kid in school gonna convince a principal, an adult, be like, hey, dude, I didn't convince these classmates to beat up these bullies for me. Why would I do that? Like that doesn't sound like something I would do or something a kid would do, would it? And then like the principal's like, yeah, well, I guess you're right. But like that's the type of guy that Charles Manson was, and I'm sure that was like the genesis of like, oh shit, I got something. If I can just convince people to do stuff for me, I can kind of, control them and, make them do my duties, you know what I mean? Another thing about Charlie Manson, I think he went to jail for like armed robbery. And funny thing is, people usually don't want to go to jail. This motherfucker wanted to go to jail because he knew he was going to be, not in like a super isolated jail. He was going to be allowed, he was allowed to get books, right?
Yeah.
And this motherfucker read for fucking hours, bro. All he did was fucking read. You know how like some people like they like to work out, do push-ups or whatever. Some of these jails, they allow you to paint, right? These like low security jails is the ones I'm talking about. But this motherfucker, a lot of people also same, they read, but this guy like really read, bro. He read shit from Scientology. He read fucking Mein Kampf. He read fucking, all these other psychology books. He learned the people, right? And there's a famous book called Dan Carnegie. From Dan Carnegie, fact check me if I'm wrong, but this guy, he wrote a series of books that said, how do you convince people to like you? And he took this book to heart. He read this book like if it was a Bible. He read that shit every day. And that way he learned how to talk to people and how to keep engaging conversations to make you feel like you're the important person in the conversation. And that's what Charlie Manson did. But it was really like his words were poisoned just to, convince you to come with him, join him. He's a nice guy. He wants to hear you out. He wants to help you out. He loves your cause. Hey, I'll help you out, but if I help you out, you got to help me out and join me. And so he started gathering a following, you know what I mean? And then, obviously the end of this was, he convinced people so much. He was such a great speaker. He convinced people to kill for him, which is crazy. But do you got anything to add on that, Big Dog?
Yeah, and it's interesting enough, bro, because like the thing with Charles Manson was when he was in like in a correctional institution for most of his life, that's where he started gathering a lot of the people that were part of his cult. But funny enough, like this dude was a singer and a songwriter, bro.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of crazy to think
seduce
that
people with your music.
Yes,
man.
bro. This fool, I don't know if you guys were familiar with the Beach Boys, but he was connected with Dennis Wilson, which is one of the members of the Beach Boys.
Is that a drummer?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I can't remember if he was a drummer or not.
Yeah,
but he was the one that introduced them to this like big record producer, Terry Melcher, I believe his name was. And they recorded a song based off of like Charles Manson and shit, bro. And it's kind of crazy to think that like like if you would think about like, oh, like you heard Charles Manson before he like, you know, put out the hits on the people and shit, like you would be like, oh, this was a singer songwriter just like me. We share the same type of goal, right? And then like it always trips me out because it's like we talk to people every day, right? And you don't know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, the Beach Boys being as big as they were, being connected to Charles Manson, like to think that full circle, bro. Imagine like being the dude
what
that
he thinks.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why I think for me it was always interesting, like how you were saying, like this dude was so well spoken, he was so professional, and the way that he spoke to people, that he got that close, bro, to like the Music Institute.
Oh, dude, yeah.
To be like,
and I'm not gonna lie, I've heard some of his unreleased music. It's not like the worst thing ever, bro. It's great for the times, you know.
Yeah,
for the
because
60s,
I think in '68 the Beach Boys recorded the song. I think it was called "Cease to Exist," which later they renamed "Never Learn Not to Love." Never Learn Not to Love, and there was a single on a B side that they released.
That was Manson's?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
But I guess the record didn't do so well.
Oh, okay.
And then even plus that, after they released the single, they never credited that fool. But so that's when that fool started having issues with that fool, you know?
There you go.
So it was but it was crazy because like if you like Manson, like he would always talk about like the Beatles and shit, like that was one of his
Helter Skelter.
Yeah, Helter Skelter, yeah. So it's again, it's crazy that like
got that close, like you said.
Yeah, bro. Like imagine if he, and again, who knows, bro? Like I don't know if it would have been different if he would have actually gotten into the same rooms with like a lot of the people that he idolized. How different his life would have been, you know?
Well, I was gonna say I don't think we've ever had a musician murderer, but we just had one just recently, right? David, the fucking rapper.
David, yeah, that one's crazy, bro.
That story is crazy in itself. If you guys want to hear us talk about that story, that whole story of his, David, it's insane, bro. But I think he was probably like, I mean, I'm not really too familiar with like the history of music, but I think like for a musician killer, I think he's like one of the most known, I would say.
Well, now I mean,
in history too.
And the crazy thing is like. And it's crazy to think because David got popular through TikTok and like obviously like his song blew up, and like now looking back, like some shit like that. But if you like go back, bro, you listen to the lyrics, you see the videos, you see the interviews, you see like the crazy shit that like is starting to come out. You're like, damn, this motherfucker was just telling us what the fuck he was doing.
Writing was on the
you know
wall.
what I'm saying? And like for me, it was always kind of skeptical because it's just like, okay. Right, you start, like for me, like I always tell myself, like I turn on that third eye, right? And I'm like, this sounds like a sacrifice, right? Like if, like, you know, like when we had Teddy on, right? He was talking about like the dark side of the music industry and all that shit.
Yeah.
And so to me, when like everything was coming out and they're like, oh, well, they found a deceased body in David's car. And it took fucking 7 months to finally like press charges on this fool. So I was like, well, why did this take so long? What was the evidence that they have now that they didn't have 5 months ago, you know?
Yeah.
And so it
should have been like a clean cut case.
And that's why for me it was always so weird because I was like, well, fuck, during that time, like, I think it was right before he released that song. That's when like I think the homicide happened. I'm not sure. I need to double check on that. But to me, it's like, well, after all that shit happened, this fool blew the fuck up, bro. So in my head, I'm like, damn, bro, like, was this like a ritual that went wrong?
Oh, shit.
You know what I'm saying? Like, was this like, hey, like,
okay,
obviously, I'm going to take care of this, and then my success is going to happen. But I don't know if, like, if whoever fucked up on their end never picked up the vehicle, never picked up the body or whatever.
That's a good take, man.
So, and that's what you think about it now, right? And they found the 40 terabytes of CP and shit, and you're just like, what the fuck? And then obviously, you know, you start everything that's coming out, you're like, oh, this was just always been a weird motherfucker, you know, like,
well, fucking Hollywood and the music business,
yeah, bro.
that shit,
and that's why I think going back to Manson, like thinking about like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was pretty much about the Manson murders, right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of cool the way they like perceive, like, obviously the ranch that fool had, like,
Yeah.
the murders that they were going about. And it's just, and to me, it's still crazy to think, like, someone was like, hey, why don't we make a big ass film about Charles Manson? Put Brad Pitt in that bitch, you know?
Leo too.
And then what's her other, wasn't, what's that chick's name?
Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie, you know, like, and it's just crazy how we're so desensitized.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're like, oh, let's get the main faces of Hollywood
Yeah.
and let's talk about this dark ass time in life, you know?
Yeah. I mean, luckily it was like I guess an alternate universe,
Yeah.
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
what happened in that movie. But I mean, yeah, like back to the subject, like you were saying, like imagine if that fool became, because like his music, like, dude, if it made it to the Beach Boys B-side of an album, like, it must have been good, you know what I mean? And I have heard some of Manson's music, and I was like, dude, it's appropriate for the times, you know, like that's
Well, yeah, because like you
something I
said,
can
like
jam with.
it was a lot of like hippie music type
yeah,
shit.
and it's not it's not half bad, you know what I mean?
Which was crazy because the Beach Boys were like uppity, like
Yeah.
type shit, and like this was like obviously like lower tone. Like if you kind of look at his lyrics, obviously darker lyrics and shit. But like,
of course.
I like how would, but I guess it's also the brain, right? Like you see somebody with kind of the same interests in you, but just the opposite end of the spectrum. Like I'm writing happy as fuck music about going to the beach and hanging out with girls and summer, and you're writing about like
the end of the world
and being in
shit.
another world alone and all this crazy shit. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah,
I guess it's cool when like two minds like meet, but obviously this motherfucker is just crazy, you know?
yeah. I think that was that little story that you told us. That was the catalyst to the fucking murders, to the Sharon Tate murders. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, like that. I think the way it goes is that somehow the girls, his groupies, his family, got a hold of Mr. Wilson. And obviously back in the day, it's all sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right?
Yeah.
He invites them over to the house, and he goes out. Mr. Wilson goes out to go, do his shit, do some errands, and the girls invite Charles Manson over. This fool, Mr. Wilson comes back, and then he sees Charles Manson, but he, back in the day, like I said, shit was weird back in the day, like in the 60s, 70s, right? So for some reason, this fool didn't kick him out, didn't do anything. He accepted Manson. They spoke up, and then obviously, if you give Charles Manson the time to speak to you, I'm sure he can convince you to fucking buy a plot of land in fucking Mars. You know what I mean? I'm sure he'll be able to do it. And I guess that's what happened. And then Wilson got him a gig to be a session player at a fucking recording studio. And I think the rule was that, hey, Manson, you can't change any of the lyrics.
Yeah.
Can't change any of the lyrics, but you can play your music, play this, and don't change anything, and you'll be good, and you'll have a deal. But Manson does. He's the leader. He doesn't want to be told what to do, so he changed the lyrics. Obviously, they cut him. The record deal. The record producers didn't like that. They spoke to him. Charles Manson didn't like it. He fucking stormed off. And then shortly after, that's when the murders occurred. You know what I mean? And I'm sure it's because of shame, embarrassment. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, it's ultimately at the end of the day, like showing motherfuckers, like, bro, I have the power to take over.
The leader was, embarrassed, was weak for a moment. So, yeah, and then unfortunately, like the murders happened, and like the big dog said earlier, like that trial was fucking crazy because that was one of the fucking, like one of his, arguments was like, dude, I didn't kill anybody. Like, how are you going to charge me with first degree murder if I wasn't even there? You know what I mean? But that was like the first of its kind where it's like, where the justice system had to really like look into, their like checks and balances, see what's legal, see what's not legal. They really had I'm sure they really had a hard time to convince the jury that this motherfucker is dangerous.
Because what's that word when you didn't do the murders but you were a part of it? Accomplice.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if he was the one that changed that. It might have already been in place, but I think obviously that's what they were trying to get him for too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you were obviously an accomplice of these murders. Like, you were a part of it. So like, obviously we know that you're the leader. You're putting out these hits. Like, but I think like his people were so devoted to him, bro, that like they were like, nah, bro, like
he didn't do it. He wasn't
didn't do
with
it.
us.
He wasn't there. Like, what the fuck? So It's just crazy, bro. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
because like how you said in the beginning, it's really just anybody can start a cult, bro. But you gotta have charisma. You gotta
Yeah.
be well spoken.
Yeah.
You gotta know how to breach that trust, right? Of like, all right, well, this person is iffy about this. Let me see what I can do to get past that wall. That way, they can trust me fully with around their kids,
Yeah.
around their family, you know. And like you said, eventually, word to mouth spreads, and boom, you go from having
Yeah.
5 people to 500 people, dog. And it's at that point,
And that's power.
who's
right
gonna
there.
side? And that's religion, bro.
Yeah.
The government protects religion. And that's where it gets difficult for me, because it's like, well, how are we allowed? And again, no disrespect to the fucking Constitution and, you know, all that cool shit that we got going on.
The loopholes and all
But
that.
it's just like, if I wanted to start a religion today, I can. Hey, I'm not gonna pay taxes because this is a religion.
Yeah, those are the loopholes.
They can't touch me, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Protected by the Constitution.
And I think I could start a cult, low key.
I mean, you might.
But I'm not going to,
Yeah.
obviously. But you know what I'm saying? Like, and again, like, I've always wondered,
Nah,
like, 'cause
you have too much of a heart, bro.
I do low key,
Yeah,
bro. I
you
feel
can't.
bad.
Yeah.
Like, going
Maybe
back
one
to
day.
like when they were doing like
For a
the
day.
interviews, like in Mindhunters, bro. Like, going real quick on one of the main fools was Ed Kemper.
The big fool, right?
6'7", just IQ through the roof, bro. When this fool was saying, like, yeah, like when I would murder these girls,
Crazy.
I would show up with the police and I would talk to the police and I would get insight on what they're looking for. That way, next time when I murder the next person, I know what not to do. And I'm
Crazy.
like, God damn, bro. Like, to think like, and I guess it's like, it sucks to say this, but like, he's so well spoken, bro. You get sucked into the idea of like, oh,
You
this
could
dude's
see
a
why.
genius, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like,
Oh yeah.
obviously you obviously got to get out of that bubble of like, this is a
Yeah.
murderer, bro. He murdered his mom,
Yeah.
buried the head outside of their house, aimed it straight
Crazy
up at their
mofo.
2-story house so she would always look up to him. That was his ideology.
That's
Now she has to look up to me. And I'm like, bro, like, what the fuck, dog? Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy, dude.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's how it is, bro. I mean, these cults, you know, just real quick, some of the stuff that, you know, everything that these cults have as well, it's the leader controls their members, right?
That and protection.
That, yeah,
A
controls
lot
and
of these
protects.
people have nothing, bro.
It's always us versus them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, like, you said you fucking didn't want to do this. You said you didn't want to pay taxes. Like, come on, man, I'm with you, but you got to be with me, right? That kind of shit. And then obviously there's, you know, punishment if you fuck up, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to get punished. There's isolation as well. It's just crazy, man. It's just crazy how it just goes downhill very fast when you join a
Power and
group.
protection, bro. That's what people want.
And when you join a group that, you know, a religious group or a self-help group or even a UFO group, right, with astrology. But let's get back to religion. That's a very scary one, bro, because a lot of people, like especially like, you know, our parents, you know, our tias, uncle, you know, all those, like our elderly family, they're all about religion, bro. They're all about religion.
Yeah.
And there's this popular cult, you know, obviously, thank God it's not, you know, it's not here anymore. The People's Temple. It was the leader was Jim Jones, and this one was more on the side of religion. Jim Jones lived in Indiana, a small town in Indiana, and there was 5 churches around his area. This fool went from one church, and after it ended, he went to the other church, and after that one ended, he went to the other church, and after that one, he went to all the churches around his area just to learn because he was such a devoted Christian, you know what I mean? But I don't know where people didn't see it. He was very fascinated by a very, you know, obviously we know notorious leader. He was very fascinated by Adolf Hitler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He read Mein Kampf. You know, he would like to spin it in the way where it's like he loved how he brought his people together, and how he convinced a poor country to become one of the strongest countries in like around like the World War area, the World War times, right? And that, I will say, like, that is impressive how you can rise people up, but the stuff that he did, you know, underneath it all, was not cool, right?
Not chill, bro.
Not cool, dude. Like, I get it, people, patriotism, all good, man. But if you're gonna hurt people, that's where you're wrong, man. You know. And like I said, that's kind of the world the kind of the world we're living in today. You know, it's all about us and us and us and us, and fuck that country too, fuck that country too. Yeah, we'll just fucking bomb them. It's like we're heading down that same path where it's very scary. But anyways, back to the People's Temple with you know, the homie Jim Jones.
The homie Jim Jones.
This fool,
the big dog.
same thing, man. Religious cult. And I think that's the scariest one, like I was saying. The scariest one because, dude, you use God's words to convince people, to control them. And then if you just change a slight, tiny word, you change a verse here or there, you know, and then people start believing your words rather than God's words, right?
And yeah, and it's crazy that, you know, how you were mentioning earlier, bro, like this dude was moving from church to church, you know, like practicing and like understanding like the religions and what people wanted to hear, you know, to the point where this fool ended up with a cult with 5,000 members, bro. Moved to California.
Yeah.
Because like, hey, you know what? Everybody out there is easier
gullible.
to control, bro. Like, gullible as fuck.
Yeah,
you know, it's
low-key.
California living. Like, everybody's super religious out there.
Simon.
And it's just crazy. Like, the amount of people that died during the fucking, what is it called? The Jonestown, or was it the Jonestown? The Jonestown massacre is insane, bro. Like, to think.
Probably the deadliest cult.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, it was like 918 or 920 people.
900 plus, for sure.
And it's just like, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and it's crazy how you obviously brought off, like, you know, El pinche Hitler. Because he went out from, supposedly he went out from taking a cyanide pill, right? And obviously he killed himself, whatever. To think that this fool managed to poison 920 people with cyanide to take their own lives, you know. Well, obviously not take their own lives, but like he was like, hey, bro, like it's time.
Well, sadly, I think the way that all that shit happened, let's kind of backtrack a little bit. You know, this fool, like you said, he had Indiana, small group, maybe 100 people, hundreds of people, then thousands. Then you move to another fucking state, you get more fucking people. Now you have like 20,000 people, and it's like, you know, he has total control over all these people, right? People follow him. People come to him every week. You know, it's his own church. Doesn't pay any taxes. Has all the loopholes. Just becomes richer, more controlling. But that's where, luckily, a lot of people fuck up, right? Greed, you know, gets to you. And, you know, thankfully, some people had some foresight to notice that this motherfucker is wrong. You know what I mean? The way that it happened, like the downfall for this People's Town, Jonestown, or the People's Temple, was that, you know, there was starting to be allegations of abuse. There's that allegations of sexual abuse, even just physical abuse, and you know, this fool couldn't take that shit, so he fucking moved his whole fucking congregation, and he moved it down to fucking South America, bro, where it was even worse over there, bro.
Because he had way more power, bro.
Yeah, and and again, back to like our little bubble map that we have here, cults. We have a little bubble map that says cults, and we have like shit that are similar to all of them. Isolation, bro. Total fucking isolation, bro. Jonestown was total. It's a middle of nowhere, and what is it?
Guyana?
Guyana?
Yeah, Guyana.
Guyana, South America. I've never even heard of that place, bro. I don't even know where that's at. Right? I guess it's a farm or something.
Yeah.
But, dude, how do you convince over 900 people to go move over there with you?
Well, like, and shout out to the Christians, because this fool obviously joined Christianity, and that's how he got people to obviously, you know, follow him.
Using God's word, yeah.
And again, he took the Bible. He's like, hey, bro, like, I feel like I'm a prophet, you know? I was
smarter
chosen,
than you. I know more
I was
than you.
chosen to be your guys' leader, so you have to now follow me. And they do say that a lot of people that started, like, there was a few people, obviously, like you said, that didn't want to leave, but this who forced them.
Yeah.
Like, hey, bro, like, I know where you live. I know your family.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do this, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
come follow me, like I promise you. Like,
Yeah.
and again, like you said, it's a lot of promises. It's a lot of this, giving, and then eventually you're gonna take. But like, obviously, how you said, people started realizing, like, oh, like, this dude's a fucking weirdo, bro.
Yeah.
Like, this dude's obviously abusing people. He's taking
Yeah.
advantage of people. Like, and obviously, once you start waking up and realizing, like, oh shit, like, am I in a cult? You know, like,
Oh yeah.
and by that time, obviously, you realize it's obviously too late, bro.
Yeah. I think the end of the People's Temple was obviously these 900 people that were looking for salvation, looking for happiness, looking for easy life and whatever. All those broken promises that Jim Jones gave them, right? Some of these members, their family members were, very worried about them, right? So much so that they finally, were able to get like I think it was like was it the mayor of California? One of some political group, went over to, to South America to check up on these people, and see how they're doing.
Yeah, I think his name was Leo Ryan.
Leo Ryan.
I could be wrong.
Oh, senator, right?
Yeah, but I think he was the one who started looking into all the claims that they were getting out of Jamestown. Yeah.
And then obviously, that fool went over there and he did not like what he saw, right? A lot of abuse, a lot of physical abuse, right? People working out in the hot sun, getting no breaks, no water, no food. Luckily, by that time, nobody had died. But, spoiler alert, everybody fucking died. Even the people who went to go see what the hell is going on. And right before then, the Ryan was interviewing people, right? Had a camera crew, and he was talking to a couple of the members that were in Jonestown, and somebody slipped a note to Ryan and saying, "Please help us get out of Jonestown." And that is sad that shakes me to the core, bro. It's so sad to see that, these members, have to sneakily, give a note to a total stranger, that has no idea what the fuck is going on. And I guess Ryan had showed that letter to, Jim Jones, and that fool got pissed, and he didn't break character, right? He was being interviewed for the cameras and letting people know that everything is great, everything's awesome, everybody loves it here, it's paradise, blah 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 blah. All right, you guys are done, right? So the camera crew was leaving. Jim Jones ordered some of his members to go over before they got to the airplane, and he shot them all. And then shortly after,
oh yeah, and to add on to that, which is crazy because like there was a lot of people, because I guess this dude called it revolutionary suicide, right? And like people were like, "Oh, I don't want to do that."
yeah,
So there was obviously in an article that so the people that didn't want to do it, right? This who ended up getting like deadly doses that he made these people drink.
the Kool-Aid, right?
It was the purple Kool-Aid, the grape Kool-Aid that was laced with cyanide that was given to people. But the people that obviously didn't want to do it, they're like, okay, cool, like you don't have to. But then they laced their shit with like triple the amount of cyanide.
Yeah, and then I'm sure like they were fucking being forced by gunmen
Yeah.
or whatever. And like you said, you brought it up earlier. How did Jim Jones convince 900 people to kill themselves? I don't think he convinced 900 people to kill themselves. He probably convinced like a good 20, and then those people, they
Well, I mean, think about how easy it is, bro.
Yeah, they
all
call
right,
it-
guys, let's toast to fucking
yeah,
us.
yeah.
Boom, gone.
But it's also herd mentality, right?
Yeah,
I see you do
obviously.
it, then I'm gonna do it too. He looks fine. Like, yeah, if Sam's gonna drink it, then, yeah, I'll drink it too.
And then I think it's crazy too. Like after everybody drank it, like homie, and who was the other guy that he was with? That's not.
that one I don't know.
It was I can't remember that dude's name.
But 900 plus, bro.
Annie Moore. It was him and Annie Moore that ended up taking their own lives by bullet to the dome. They ate a bullet. So like, to me, it's like, okay, bro, like, and that's where like kind of like that shit like always like deflects in my head weird, because I'm like, why would you go out that bad, right? Just drink the fucking cyanide. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At that point, like,
Yeah.
but imagine how he must have felt, because I'm sure there's a sense of like, I did that shit, bro.
Yeah, I was about to say that as soon as you said. I'm sure he felt fucking proud, bro. 900 people.
I mean, because regardless, bro, like out of the 5,000 people that followed him, to still have almost 1,000 people, like that's still like 1/5 of the entire fucking people that followed him. To be like, all right, cool, bro. We still believe
we're with
in
you. Yeah,
we're with you to the end.
Yeah, and I'm sure. I mean, I haven't seen any. I mean, I don't know how Science. Luckily, God forbid we ever get a hold of any.
The powder.
But I'm sure he didn't want to fucking go. He took the coward's way out, bro. Fast and easy.
But that's what I'm saying. I would have just taken the cyanide. The cyanide kills you almost instantly,
Does
bro.
it? No. Oh, yeah. But yeah, man. I mean, watch out for these people, guys. You know, watch out with these religious groups. You know, there's a lot of similarities to the groups of today. I mean, I don't want to bring it up, but you know, there's some that are pretty. You know, I'm sure some of these famous, you know, religious groups now have some skeletons in their closet that are very similar to these cults that we're talking about. Another popular one, another deadly cult that happened as well is Heaven's Gate. This one's a little bit different because it's not really, you know, hippie. It's not really self-help. It's not really a religious group. It was more of a group of fans who liked astrology, you know, UFOs. And at this time, this is like when Roswell was happening, right? A lot of cover-ups. They probably saw, you know, like the Apollo 11, you know, hit the moon, right? And, you know, it's stuff that, you know, like if I'm sure if me and Sam were back in the day, you know, back in the 60s and we saw this happen, we'd be just as curious as some of these leaders, you know, like Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles. I'm sure we'd be just as curious, and we'd probably make a group just like them just to, you know, discuss about like, dude, what'd you think about, you know, like the Cold War race? You know, like we made it to the moon first, and it's like, you know, we just have overall discussions about astrology and UFOs and whatnot. But then how does it but then you get a bunch of members, and then you realize you have like more than 100 fucking members, and then with that, you know, you start getting confidence and you start changing the script, you know what I mean? And then from there you start making people do what you want. Now it's a group where it's like, oh, hey, dude, like, don't have sex, don't fuck anybody, but secretly down, I can still fuck everybody I want. And all my members.
Savage that shit,
yeah,
bro.
Right? It's like, hey, don't fuck your wife anymore, but, you know, have your wife come see me at night. You know, kind of shit. And it's like, bro, what the fuck?
And it's funny, too, because, like, obviously, like, people know Heaven's Gate as, like, the mass suicide and all that stuff. Like, but it's funny if you like, look into it, like, even the leaders were like, oh, we're against suicide. We don't do that here.
Yeah.
The way we have to go out is by offering ourselves to the stars, to the astrology, exactly. You know? So it's always interesting, like you said, again, the way they twist words, bro, right? We're against suicide, but if we offer ourselves,
we're not killing ourselves.
We will be granted to the other world, you know?
Yeah, we're traveling to the stars, like you said. Yeah,
and it's crazy, bro, because again, like, you got to think about it. These fools were, I believe they're astrologists, right?
Yeah.
And to think, obviously, like, I don't think astrology was big at that time, right? Obviously, like, you know, people would be like, oh, like, how do you know about the stars and shit like that? And then I look at it now, like, even their design, bro, was so futuristic. It was colorful. It was bright. It was in your face, and you're like, oh, that's interesting, right? And then you start learning about astrology and, like, how it's attached to religion and, oh, like, so is this technically Christian? It's New Age. It's UFOlogy, like. And then you're just like, oh, cool, I want to be a part of something like this. It sounds cool as fuck, right? Everybody's chill, you know, whatever. We get sick-ass Nikes. We all kind of
sick-ass tracksuit.
We're all uniformed and shit.
Yeah.
And again, uniformity is like a big thing too, right? Where like it makes you feel like you're belonging to something.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a big thing with like all of these cults. It makes you feel like one is all for one type shit, right? Like we're all family here. Like
exactly. That's
and so that's why I think for me, Heaven's Gate is one of my favorites to like obviously look over because of like the. Again, it's not the genuine power of this was because they didn't really do anything, bro. They really allowed these people to come in and be like, hey, this is what we're promoting. Would you like to join, right? And I believe when they first started, it was like 35 members or so, But like, again, it all happened in fucking California too, bro. Big SD, if I'm not mistaken. It was in San Diego. And I don't know, bro. Like, it's just like... And I don't know if maybe, like, for us, because, like, we like to, like, nitpick at shit. We like to question shit so much that, like, it gets to the point of, like, at what point do you think, like, what would convince us to be at that point of, like, all right, cool, bro, like, because obviously they didn't know, like, all that shit was going to go down. Again, it was an offering, right? Like, you got to offer yourself to these gods.
It all goes downhill very fast. I think same thing, like, fucking Marshall Applewhite was getting... he was kept on fucking up, slipping up. And then he's like looking for a way out. And then he goes, oh, hey, there's going to be a fucking comet that's going to be seen at this time. Like, oh, dude, that's the perfect fucking time right there. It's like, hey, if you don't fucking believe anything I've said, there's going to be a comet that's going to go around and we're going to be able to see it. And that's the comet that we're going to travel to. The aliens are right behind it. And I think it was like, I think the comet was called like, Comet Hale that passes by like every 147 years, I think. And like that was his way out, because he, people were like starting to fucking rumble within his group, like, hey, dude, you're a piece of shit. You're a fucking old man. You're a fucking weird old man talking about, we don't even talk about UFOs anymore. Now we're just fucking everybody. And I can't even see my fucking family anymore because I have to be here fucking 12 hours a day and go to work and then come back. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, the homie, that was his way out, the comet. And then it was cyanide or was it also Kool-Aid with him?
I think his were, it might have been cyanide too because it was obviously, they drank it. So most likely it was cyanide.
And the fact that these fools got cyanide, that's so crazy, bro.
Well, I mean, it's just theoretically it's rat poison.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's a form of rat poison that they use, obviously. But like I've seen. I don't know if you ever seen the movie The Iceman. It's a mafia guy that obviously he was one of the biggest hitters in like all of the United States, and like a form of murders that he wanted to try without getting caught was cyanide because they couldn't detect it at that time. So what this fool would do is, like, let's just say you're at a nightclub and you're getting close to the guy that you're going to take out. You would put it in a bottle and then you pretend like you'll sneeze, but you'll squeeze the bottle.
Verga.
And obviously, and as soon as it hits the skin or anything, you're out, bro. Like, you have no chance
that potent?
It's bad, bro.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? And so, like, obviously, like, cyanide was used widely, bro.
Yeah. The rat poison, like,
yeah, and it's just... like, and again, it's to the point where you don't really think about the fact of like, oh, well, I trust these people. Why would they poison me type shit, right? Like,
sadly. Yeah.
All right, bro.
There's like 30 people, right? Like passed away from the Heaven's Gate. Fucking bunk beds. I think you went to like the Museum of Death. And I think you showed me some pictures of the actual bunk beds and like the certification.
They have the uniform and the shoes, bro.
It's crazy. The tracksuit.
And I believe obviously they took it from one of the people that were involved. So like it's actual like worn shit, bro. Yeah. So like to me to think like holy fuck, bro, like that's a piece of history that's like kind of fucking insane, like. And that I think from like a lot of the shit that was there, that one kind of blew my mind because it was obviously like not that long ago, bro.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's just one of those things that always kind of blew my mind to think like, oh, like so that's what because and then obviously like a lot of people are like, oh, well, cults aren't bad, like this, but I'm like, bro, like I don't think there's been a cult where you can be like, everything's cool here. You're like, no, bro.
Well, that's the thing, bro. Like how you said, it's like a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? Everything is good. I'm gonna seduce you with my words, my charisma, and like you said, like, oh, why would he hurt me? Why would my supreme leader hurt me? Like, why does he want to kill me? Why do I have to kill myself? And it's sadly, bro, like, I feel what I feel most is for the people, for the members, right?
Yeah.
That are, I don't want to say weak minded, but a little bit gullible. you know um I think on one of the research videos that I saw with Charles Manson, it's like this fool went out looking for people that were down in their luck, right? People who are homeless, like just look depressed, have that face of despair. He would go up to those people and he'd help them out. And I just feel like bro, like people can get out of that funk if you just talk to some friends, man. Make a podcast. You know what I mean? Don't go down that road. Don't join a group. Like don't join an extreme group like that. You know what I mean? Because most of the time it's gonna go down that route. Complete control, isolation from your family. And then you get punished if you decide to be a decent human being, and then sadly sometimes you have to kill yourself or you get killed for doing what's right. You know what I mean?
But I mean, you also got to think about like these fools rented out a mansion in San Diego. You know what I'm saying? Like in the suburbs, like you're not gonna be like, oh shit, like these fools actually fuck with this. Like they're doing all this for us. Like it kind of takes you to the extent of like, oh well, these people are actually doing something for me. Like
Yeah.
And it goes back to the whole like feeling like one, feeling like a family. Like
for me, it's like I don't want to like abuse somebody or use somebody, but like I really want to talk to someone who's really close to killing themselves and just wonder what's gonna happen, bro. Like dude, you know where you're going, man. Like how, like what is going through your mind? I'm sure there's and I got like I don't want to know that anybody is going through that stuff. You know what I mean? But if you are going through that stuff, we'll leave some numbers down on our podcast or captions so you can get help. And if you want to talk to us as well, like you can talk to us, because killing yourself is not the way to go, man. There's help out there. You know what I mean? And you don't have to, because other people are jumping off the cliff. That doesn't mean you have to jump off the cliff. Like our parents say, right? Like, oh, if your friend, we've all heard that before, right? If he jumps off a cliff, are you gonna jump off a cliff? And it's like, well, how high is the cliff, right?
And it's also crazy, how you're saying like, oh, if one person does this, like, and then kind of like going back to like the uniformity of shit, like everybody was laid on their back facing up. Everybody had $5.75 in their pocket.
Crazy.
Which was your toll to get in, right?
Insane.
Like so it's just like, and it's crazy that like the way they found out was because of a welfare check, bro. So, because the murders happened in a span of 30 days. Or not murders, but like, like the suicides again happened within 3 days.
How quiet was that mansion, bro?
Well, that's what I'm saying, bro. So, like, they would get the groupings, hey, drink this, or I think some of them put a bag over their head and, like, took in some, like, toxins and shit.
Fucking A.
But, like, when they were saying sad, when, like, the people went in after the welfare check, everybody was just unified, bro. Uniformed. Outfits, $5.75 in
hands
the pocket,
to the side and shit.
Hands to the side, man, covering their face, like
fucking sad,
crazy, bro. Like I can't even imagine, like, because I'm sure, like, with cops that, like,
see shit like that,
do like murders and shit like that. That has to be some of the creepier.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna say, oh, seeing someone's head blown off or like a body dismembered isn't crazy, but to walk into a mansion, bro, an all white mansion. Everybody, same shoes, same pants, same shirt, face covered.
Yeah, that shit will haunt you, bro.
Everybody's got the exact same amount of money in their pocket. Like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, crazy, bro. Like, it gives me chills, dog.
That's cool, man. And again, like, we're getting down to that hour. We still have a little bit more to go, but, if you guys want to have us really deep dive on any of these, cults that we're talking about, let us know. There's still a lot more with People's Temple that we haven't said. Obviously, there's a lot more with the Manson family, Heaven's Gate. We can talk for days, bro. But, Yeah, man. Let's get the ball rolling. Let's talk about the other famous deadly cult. One that's not so known. Again, it's in Tokyo, Japan. Um, it's called Aum Shinrikyo, and that one's more with like Buddha, Hinduism, and the leader of that group is Shoko Asahara. So this fool, right? Same thing, just like all the other leaders, right? You know, a little bit overweight, bullied all the time, right? You know, quiet and whatever. But once you get that sign that you can control somebody, that you can make somebody do something, then you have them, right? Then you have them hook, line, and sinker, as they say. I think this fool, one of his things was like, oh, I can sit longer than you.
Well, he was saying that he was born. What was it? He was born both as Christ and like the enlightenment of Buddha. So this fool was already like, I'm up there, fool. I'm better than all of you fools.
So yeah, I'm sure that peaked a couple years, and they're like, oh, I need to see this guy. If he says he's Christ, I need to fucking check it out. I think also too, he did like a lot of propaganda where he would send out pamphlets of him levitating like off the floor, sitting down. And like people very like obviously sadly gullible people were like, dude, this guy, he knows something. He's levitating off the ground. He's reached nirvana or he's reached salvation, right? And you know, again, it all the same. It starts with 5, then it goes 10, 100, and then blah blah blah.
And he had double of Jamestown, bro. He got up to like 10,000 members. Damn, bro.
No mames.
This fool was up there with like some of the bigger cults that they had.
That's crazy. This guy fucked up though. Same thing as they always do. Fucking creepy fucks, right? Nasty sexual deviants, right? So he had a lot of abuse, and he made his members. He abused a lot of his members. I think he made one group of members like sit down for fucking 8 hours a day. You know, do a bunch of planks. Don't eat nothing. And I think one of his members during this like time when he was making them go through these trials, I think one of them, you know, passed away, had a heart attack, you know, just because everything that, you know, all the abuse, all the, you know, workouts and everything that, you know, Shoko made him do, you know, it made this guy just pass away, right? And what this fool did, he told some of his trusty members, he told them like, hey, dude, get rid of him. You know, he's not gonna live. He's not gonna survive. Get rid of him, and then I'll tell my members that he died because he couldn't. His body couldn't survive my teachings, so his body let go. But now he's in heaven, and he's above us all right now. You know what I mean? And that's something that you want to hear, right? Like when you're a kid, when you hear that one of your family members passed away, you want to hear something like that. You want to hear like, oh. You don't want to hear that he died and that's it. He's dead. You want to hear like, oh, he passed away, but he's here right now. If you look up to his like favorite, you know, beer, you'll see him right there. He's holding that beer. He's here with you all the time. And that's the kind of shit that this motherfucker told his members, his thousands of members. He's like, oh, this guy didn't survive. He died. Yes, he died. But it wasn't because I killed him. It wasn't because I made him sit for fucking 20 hours. It's because his body couldn't handle.
The fucking gaslighting, it's crazy, bro.
He couldn't handle my trials, but he's not dead. He's above us right now, and he's going to be the guy that's going to help all of you out and give you the extra strength to pass these trials because I want to make you do these trials for me because I'm a fucking deviant motherfucker.
And it's crazy because he was also referred as a terrorist, which is...
Oh, yeah. Oh, we'll get into that right now.
Crazy because it's like... The name Doomsday Cult, bro, it sounds so fucking sick, right? Like, because he was like anti-war and all that shit too, bro. So I mean, it's just crazy to think. Like, luckily, again, we'll say this with all due respect, like, only 14 people died under this fool's hand because of the gas bombing that he did.
Yeah.
So obviously not as many people passed, but it is crazy that obviously once they got to this fool, like, they hung his bitch ass and. All that crazy shit, right? Like,
and you know what's funny? It's so weird because he was, like you said, 20,000 members, right? He was actually like, dude, he was in cartoons, comic books. Like he was.
Bro, he had 12 kids.
12 kids.
12 fucking kids.
I mean, that's how you do it, bro. That's how you convince people. Just convince kids. But the cracks started, breaking down this religion, and it started with this. After one of those members died from those trials, one of these trusty people who got rid of the body, luckily had a fucking change of heart, and he wanted to go to the police and and report this motherfucker Shoko, right, to the police. And Shoko was like, all right, man, I understand. Like, it's cool. I get you. I see where you're coming from. It's all good. Just wait for me here, and I'm going to turn myself in, right? He leaves the room. And then Shoko convinces 2 other members to kill this fool.
That's just crazy.
So that shit doesn't come out. And this one, he didn't even bother to tell his fucking members. This one, he just said, he ran off.
Well, yeah, I mean, at that point where you're...
And then from there, from those early fucking cracks, he became fucking popular. Like I said, he was in fucking cartoons. I've seen cartoons of this fool, fucking comic books. And this is Japan, right? Like, Japan's full of respectable, intelligent people, right? And it's crazy that they were, advertising this fool. So much so, he got so much notoriety, so much so that this fool, he's like, he thought he was so holier than thou and smarter than everybody that he wanted to get into politics. And
it's always funny because it kind of goes back to like Pablo Escobar did the same shit. One of the biggest fucking what can I think of the name?
Narco
cartels. And he's like, I'm for the people, bro. So I'm gonna elect for
people.
And it's just it's crazy how they always do that, knowing, bro, like there's no way this is gonna work out for you.
Yeah.
Like as much as you can buy people out or people are afraid of you, there's always going to be someone ahead of you, bro. And it's just, like you said, people just get outsmarted.
Or there's always right and wrong.
Yeah.
Same thing with, like, just real quick with Pablo Escobar. Yeah, he fucking helped, bring some towns up. He built soccer stadiums and whatever and whatnot. But it was all with blood money. So, I mean, is that the right thing? Or is that wrong, right? Is he the real Robin Hood?
I was about to say, he was a Robin Hood for sure.
But, it goes both ways, right? But same thing, Shoko wanted to get into politics, and that's where his downfall was. Because when he got into politics and the voting happened, he was second to last in the voting, with voters. And so much so that people made fun of him for that too. And obviously, a narcissistic leader of 20,000 people, that's going to piss him off. And so he, from then on, decided to get revenge on people. He wanted to get back. He wanted to get back at all those people who made fun of him. I think he made a couple people try to get out nuclear weapons. I think he had another member try to get a bunch of guns, and and then all of those failed, obviously, because what the fuck? How the hell are you gonna get a nuclear weapon? How are you gonna get all these fucking guns from out of nowhere? But sadly, one of his members that he made come up with like a chemical gas, deadly gas, was successful. And then that's where, Shoko was like, I'm going to show the world and I'm going to tell them to fear me and blah, 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 blah. And then obviously in 1995, sadly, like the big dog said earlier, in 1995, Tokyo, Japan, a subway station was attacked by like deadly nerve gas?
It was a binary chemical weapon that he used.
Oh my God, it's even fucking worse. Yeah, dude. And he fucking put that shit out there. And obviously that's horrible, right? Like, gas is like...
Which is smart, bro. I mean, not to give this full credit or anything, but like if... That's one of the ways of like, all right, how can you trace this back?
Yeah.
And by the time you do, it's going to be too late.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's like... And gas kills everybody, not just one individual person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it spreads, right? Because it's fucking air. It's through the air. And sadly, like, like the big dog said, 14 people passed away, and I don't even want to imagine the horrendous things that they had to go through, right? With this gas, but
yeah, because they were saying like it was upwards 6,000 people that were affected by it.
Verga.
And that's not even close to the actual number because a lot of people didn't come out to get like help and shit. So luckily, you know, again, I think it was only 13 that passed, but 6,000 plus were infected or injured.
Were hurt, yeah.
By the sarin, I think it was. So it's just insane, bro, to think because Japan at the time was like huge when it comes obviously to like the trains and like all that shit, bro. So it's just
innovators. Yeah, and it's like, again, back to our subject, it all started from a fucking cult, bro. It all started from a guy who's like, hey, dude, like, I want to talk about Buddha. I want to talk about Hinduism. Like, let's all...
But I'm better than them.
Yeah, let's all get together. Like, look, I can fucking levitate, you know, and like, believe me, I'm holier than thou, and blah, 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 blah. Like, follow me, and you'll be able to levitate too. You know, you'll reach nirvana sooner than later. And it's like... It's sad, bro, that people are gullible and they join and they, you know, fall for this.
Everybody wants to be part of a promised land, bro.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And so, like I said, if you know, if you guys want us to get more of a deep dive on any of these that we've spoken about, let us know. And then, you know, we're gonna get to our last one, which is, you know, we'll do it real quick, but this one. It's not officially a cult yet because there's still a large gathering. You know what I mean? This one's called the FLDS. The reason why I say it's not a cult because, you know, people still practice it today. But, you know, back in the day with the leader Warren Jeffs, you know, this, you know, same like every other cult member, you know, deviant, you know, abuser, punisher, you know, and it's horrible, the shit that he made his fucking people do. Even kids, man, like CP with kids.
Well, that's why he's in jail. He's only serving 20 years.
No, man.
For all the evidence that they found against, because he essayed a child. And there was, if you guys have seen, there's a documentary on it on Netflix that actually portrays it to the T, bro. And it's sickening, so heads up if you guys have like weak stomachs and all that. But yeah, there was a lot of like polygamy going on. They had a pray and obey. It was just what was it? The totalitarian control. So the thing is, like, obviously it would go down like he got chose after his dad passed, and so on and so on and so on. So like, it's one of those, I guess, cults, obviously, that's probably never going to end. Because as soon as he passes, they're going to have to pick somebody new. Yeah. And if there's still a strong enough cult or, like, gathering, like you said, I don't think that one's ever going to. Because the church is still, I believe the church is still in Texas.
Yeah, the biggest one is in Texas.
There's I feel
Colorado
like the
City as well.
I feel like the one in Texas is still there. So you could theoretically fucking go visit that shit if you want.
I mean, careful out there, guys, you know. If they can convince, you know, 5,000 people, I mean, just be careful, you know, like those words are, you know, dangerous, you know, the words they speak.
And that fool just looks like a fucking creep, bro.
Yeah, this one he does, you know. And, yeah, man, I mean, it's just, like I said, it's sad that people go through that, you know, like I said, me and Big Dog, we're not really big into religion like that. But, I mean, there is similarities when we, like, idolize, you know, some of our heroes, right? Like, there's a famous song from Eminem called Stan, right? Mm-hmm. Sort of similar, right? This guy's a big fan of fucking Eminem. He writes to him every fucking day. You know, he idolizes him like a fucking leader, unbeknownst to, obviously, Eminem, right? Eminem doesn't know this shit's happening, but sometimes people, you know, they feel like that. Luckily, Eminem never fucking gave him any budge or anything, never communicated anything, so it didn't get any worse. But I don't know if it's a true. Is it a true story? Stan?
Yeah.
Is it a true story?
Yeah.
Yeah, so see, like, that's fucking crazy, man. So watch out with the people that you idolize, man. And don't idolize them too hard, man. You know, it's okay to be a fan. It's okay to be a follower. But, you know, just be careful, you know what I mean? Like, at any point, even like Eminem, he could fucking join something that you don't agree with, but just because it's him, that doesn't mean that you have to join it too. You know what I mean? Kind of shit. That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, look at everything that's going on right now with the Megan Thee Stallion and Klay Thompson, bro.
I don't even know what's going on.
Oh, we'll get to that later. But yeah, it's insane, bro. It's insane, like how bad idolizing somebody can, I guess, at the end of the day, kind of change your mindset, or obviously always try to like be one side of the coin right now, like, because obviously like, there's a lot of shit going on with them too. But like all her fans are like, oh, nobody knew who Klay Thompson was until Megan Thee Stallion. And you're just like, what the fuck? No, you know?
4 rings, homie.
And so it's like, again, like you were saying, like.
But the Swifties, I don't want to say shit or anything.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's also like the Beehive with Beyonce, like, you know, Taylor Swift. Like, everybody's got their own little, like, cult following. But, like, at what point is it too much? You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why when I see all these people coming out and, like, saying a bunch of nonsense and, like, you know, obviously, like, at the end of the day, it's not going to disregard the bad that people are doing. But, like, if you're one of those people that are like, oh, my God, if this person's doing this, then I have to do it, too. Like, bro, sit the fuck down. Like, these people don't even know who the fuck you are, bro. Like, all you're doing is paying for their successes. Like, relax. You know, like, take it easy.
Did you ever idolize anybody like that?
To that point where, like, I don't think so, bro. Like, obviously, I've had, like, you know, I was always, like, fan of, like, drummers and, like, pro skaters and shit. But, like, to the point of, like, oh, my God, bro, like, if he only wears these type of shoes, I'm only going to wear those type of shoes. Like, nah, bro. Like, I never got to, like, that point. So I'm kind of glad that I never got to that type of mindset. How about you?
I remember I was a really, really, like in high school, I was a really big Kirk Hammett fan.
But like, to what extent though? Like, you know,
I would look out for like, oh, if he has this guitar, I need to have this guitar. Like, oh, he wears the high top Nikes. Like, I'm gonna wear the high top.
I mean, I can see that. Like, I think that's fine. Like, if my favorite drummer plays certain heads, I'm like, oh, let me play these heads. But I think it's to the point of like, oh, I know what time he goes to sleep. I know what time he wakes up. I know where he's gonna have lunch. Like, that shit's crazy, bro. Like, super fans need to fucking relax, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
But shit, fuck, well, that might be a new episode too of super fans, bro. Because we can always talk about what's her name, the one singer.
What singer?
The one that the dude mailed her a bomb and shit or something.
Oh yeah, fucking.
It was I can't think of her name, bro. No, Bjork?
No.
It was Bjork.
Is it Bjork?
I think it was Bjork. She had like this super fan, and this dude was like obsessed with her, and he's like, oh, I love her so much that I'm going to be the one
to kill her.
So I think, we'll get into it. Yeah, we'll get into it.
That should be an episode, bro. Yeah. We got John Lennon.
We got John Lennon.
Oh,
we have a bunch of shit, bro. Dude. We have a bunch of, like, even with Amanda Cosgrove, like the shit that she went through. Like, so we have plenty. If you guys want to hear crazy fucking fan interactions and shit like that, let us know. Yeah. But to wrap shit up, you know, because I'm sure you guys are already not even here at this point. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I know this episode was a little too long, but again, you know, sometimes some of these topics do take a lot of breakdown, especially when we're trying to break down certain different types of cults and all that stuff, and you know, it takes time. So again, if you guys listen all the way to the end, thank you guys. We appreciate your loyalty, and hopefully we don't get a cult following. Yeah, but hopefully we do. You know, like, but normal one.
We get a following.
We get a following.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll take a following. But yeah, like the big dog said, you know, this episode was a little long, but same thing. Like I mentioned, if you guys want us to get a little deep dive on any of these cults, let us know. You know, we got Manson Family, People's Temple, Heaven's Gate, you know, FLDS. You know, if you want us to go more dive deeper in those, let us know. And let us know if you want us to talk about those crazy fans too. There's a lot of these people out there, you know, sadly idolize like these cults, you know. So anyways, thank you all for being here. You know, if you did stick around, put a little target on the comment section.
Yeah, put an upside down cross or something.
Yeah. But that's it for me.
All right, guys. Later. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next Friday. Peace out.